Hello, everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the consumer buying decision process. The buying decision process is often seen as a journey for the customer, and it begins with the need recognition and ends with the post purchase behavior. Now, marketers need to be aware of this process in order to effectively influence consumers at each stage. The buying process begins when a consumer recognizes a problem or need. This could be triggered by either an internal stimulus, such as hunger or thirst, or an external stimulus, such as seeing an ad. Now, marketers can stimulate problem recognition by highlighting deficiencies in existing products or by creating a need for a new product through advertising or promotional efforts. For example, Apple is a master at creating problem recognition by showing how its latest products solve issues customers didn't even know they had, such as better cameras, faster processors, or new features like Face ID. Once a consumer recognizes a problem or need, they begin searching for information about how to satisfy it. Information search can vary in scope depending on the importance of the decision. For everyday products like toothpaste, for example, consumers may rely on internal information, such as memory, and make quick decisions based on past experience or even based on their brand loyalty. However, for more complex, high involvement products like cars or electronics, or basically products that are more expensive, consumers may seek external information first from multiple sources before they can make the actual purchase decision. Information sources can include personal sources such as their family, friends, or acquaintances, and these are considered as the most trusted sources of information because of the close proximity to the customer and because of the personal connection. There's also commercial sources such as advertising, salespeople, websites, or social media platforms, social media pages. These are controlled by marketers, but consumers tend to view them with a degree of skepticism because they understand that the primary goal of these sources is to sell. And so there is some level of distrust. Another source is public sources, and this includes media articles, consumer reviews, or forums. Public sources, especially online reviews and expert opinions, play an increasingly important role in consumer decision making because they're typically viewed with more neutrality. And the last kind of source is experiential sources, and this includes handling, examining, or using the product. This also refers to direct interaction with the product, either through a test drive, for example, a demo, because it provides firsthand knowledge of its features and performance. For instance, when buying a new gadget, a consumer might read online reviews, and this would be an example of public source. Or they can watch promotional videos on YouTube, and this can be an example of commercial source. Or they can ask friends for recommendations, an example of personal source. All this before making a decision. Marketers must ensure that their products are visible and portrayed positively across all of these sources. And this is why there are techniques such as search engine optimization or SEO, influencer partnerships, and content marketing, because these are crucial strategies to ensure that the right information reaches potential buyers during this stage. The next stage is evaluation of alternatives. And this is when consumers evaluate alternatives. They rely on a combination of beliefs, attitudes, information processing, and the expectancy value model, all of which are interconnected in shaping the consumer decision. Beliefs and attitudes form the basics of how consumers see products. Beliefs are descriptive thoughts about a product's features, while attitudes are more long lasting evaluations based on the beliefs that consumers have about a particular product. Together, both beliefs and attitudes filter how consumers view different opinions. For example, a positive attitude toward a brand can cause a consumer to favor that brand's products, even if competing options perform very similarly on objective measures. As consumers process information, these beliefs and attitudes guide how they interpret and compare the available alternatives. In the information processing stage, consumers gather and assess data such as price, quality, and brand reputation. For low involvement decisions, they may rely on shortcuts like brand familiarity. And for more significant purchases, they engage in deeper evaluation, weighing different product attributes against each other. The clarity and relevance of the information play a critical role in whether consumers can make an informed choice without feeling overwhelmed. The expectancy value model ties all this together by explaining how consumers quantify their evaluations. And they assign importance to each attribute based on their beliefs and attitudes, and then calculate an overall score for each alternative. The product with the highest cumulative score, reflecting both performance and importance, is typically chosen. In this way, beliefs, attitudes, and information processing all influence the final decision, with the expectancy value model offering a structured method to weigh alternatives. Now, when consumers make purchase decisions, factors such as decision heuristics, the level of consumer involvement, and intervening factors all play a significant role. The elaboration likelihood model, or ELM, also helps explain how consumers process information differently depending on their involvement level, which ultimately will influence their decision making approach. Decision heuristics are mental shortcuts that allow customers to make quick, efficient decisions without thinking too much about every detail. These include strategies like choosing a familiar brand, selecting the lowest price, or opting for the most popular product. Heuristics are especially common in low involvement situations where the decision doesn't really carry significant personal consequences or the product isn't too expensive. And so consumers are less motivated to engage in deep analysis and really spend much time doing that. The use of heuristics is closely tied to the level of consumer involvement. According to the ELM, consumers follow two different routes to decision making based on their involvement. The first route is what we call as the central route, and the other one is the peripheral route. In high involvement purchases, which is the central route, consumers carefully evaluate product attributes, they seek detailed information, and they weigh their options. In contrast, low involvement decisions, which is the peripheral route, they are more likely to rely on heuristics such as attractive packaging or endorsements because consumers don't invest as much cognitive effort in the decision. Even when consumers are prepared to make a purchase, intervening factors can actually alter their decision. These factors include last minute influences, such as a new promotion, a friend's recommendation, or stock availability. Now, sudden changes in personal circumstances, such as financial constraints, can also disrupt the original plan and prompt a different choice. Once the purchase is made, the consumer enters the post purchase behavior stage. At this point, the consumer evaluates whether the product meets their expectation. Their satisfaction or dissatisfaction affects future behavior, and it includes whether they are going to repurchase the product or recommend it to others. So, this stage is crucial for building customer loyalty and long term brand equity. There are three key elements of post-purchase behavior. One is satisfaction, and this refers to if the product meets or exceeds expectations. So the consumer in this case is satisfied. Satisfaction leads to brand loyalty and positive word of mouth. And companies strive to make their customers happy by delivering not just what they promise, but more than what is expected. Next key element is cognitive dissonance. Now, sometimes consumers experience post purchase doubt, also known as cognitive dissonance. And this happens when they have conflicting feelings about whether they made the right choice. So, for example, after buying an expensive laptop, a consumer might worry about whether they could have found a better deal or chosen a more reliable or durable brand. Now, marketers need to address cognitive dissonance by providing post purchase communication, such as a follow up email or a follow up call, reassurance of product quality, or tips on how to better use or take care of the product. And the last key element of post purchase behavior is product use and disposal. It is important that after purchasing a product, how it is used and eventually disposed can also influence future purchasing behavior. So, for example, electronics are often evaluated on their long term performance. If the product lasts longer than expected, the consumer is more likely to buy from the product again or from that brand. On the other hand, if a product is difficult to dispose of or recycle, it might negatively affect the consumer's future choices, particularly for environmentally conscious consumers. The same can be said also about the ease of use, and this is especially true for electronics. So, electronics that may not come with a manual, an instruction manual, might prove to be very difficult to figure out how to use by consumers. And so this would affect their perception of the product and also how they are likely to recommend this product to their friends and family.